Hey guys, I'm here at Estrella Mountain Community College here in Phoenix, Arizona, surveying burrowing owls to finish our 7-year study on the transrelocation success of the western burrowing owl, a species that is down 97% nationwide populations due to urbanization. And I wanted to show you guys this little owl here before I have to share a sad story. This is our second site visiting this morning. We're doing one final visit to every site we have in order to quantify exactly how many holes are on each site, if they're artificially installed or naturally created. And so right here behind me, I'm gonna give you guys a little turnaround view here, is a burrowing owl. And this little dude is very important because he is sitting here right at an artificial burrow. And I'm about 15 feet from him, slowly moving up. Him or her, excuse me. They are not sexually dimorphic, but very floofy. Oh, floofy. Not too bothered by me. They're used to seeing people. And so these are artificially installed burrows. They're irrigation equipment. You can see tubing under the ground that has rebar on either side installed in the ground and wiring to wrap it and place it. Mesh around the outside to help keep the hole smaller and prevent animals from getting in and destroying the entrance. And right now these are males and females because the females are migratory everywhere except for Florida. And in Florida, they will stay all year round, but everywhere else, the females will leave and go to Mexico in order to eat up and get nice and fat for breeding and come back. They breed in the spring, raise their babies together in summer, and then the males stay all year while the females head to Mexico. So right now we're getting female and male numbers to understand the maximum size of our burrows. He or she has now turned and started listening to me and looked at me. So these little guys are super cute. They're only about, and we're off. They're only about 9 to 12 inches in height. Here at our site, you can see this is really just dirt, a big open area of dirt. The college is off here in front of me, and these are just some open land. And so they made this agreement, almost 10 years ago with Wild at Heart here at their solar field. This is a science and technical college, Estrella Mountain Community College, and they have this solar field and storage area. And so they have, a lot of burrows here. I forget our number here, but it's somewhere between 35 and 50, as in it houses dozens of owls. It is our most productive, if not tied for most productive site. So let me walk you over here and you can see what an artificial owl burrow looks like. Naturally created can be things, let me turn it around right here and show you. Can happen like things like this, like outwashes can create burrows, animal activity, but they are not capable of making it themselves. So they do rely on other animals, and historically that was the prairie dog. So that, the government encouraged culling a prairie dog led to the destruction of a lot of their homes, as well as other species like black-footed ferrets and gopher tortoises that range from critically endangered to threatened, as well as a lot of your common species like bull snakes and gopher snakes, tarantulas. In Texas, you get even armadillos. So the burrow is a microhabitat. It can house hundreds of species living communally, as well as mutually, and some predation as well, parasitism. So here's an artificial burrow, getting you a close-up look. The college here, when they install them, we have numbers and markings. Those are done by the installers, not ourselves. We have our own markings. You can see here we've got some nice owl poop right in the entrance. This is actually a partial pellet. Nice partial pellets right here up front. You get used to spotting those. They look kind of shiny when they're fresh like that, which is nice. We also count not only poop piles you can see around here, but feathers and owl sightings like we just saw. And you can see this is just some nice irrigation, 4-inch tubing, surrounded by mesh to keep it from predators, secured by that rebar and having a cement block below it. They are able to resist the outwashing from flooding better than other areas. Oh, and we have some birds who just popped up in front of us. So let's go ahead and check out up here. I counted 5 this morning just at these 3 burrows. Nice busy numbers. The ladies are in town. You can hear them calling. Got that squeaky call. And the ones who are used to being around people can actually let us get as close as about 5 to 8 feet, while others will fly off at less than 20, like this guy here. So this is a great thing. We see owls here, huge amounts of site, tons of burrows, tons of owls, our most productive site. It's at a community college where they do research here with them as well. So they're long-term protected. This is a beautiful thing. It's a great partnership between this community college and Wild at Heart Raptor Rescue, who did the installs, and Pikstein Lab, who's out here studying the success of this amazing conservation work and trying to get that information so we can share it with others and spread the effect of this burrow system, because it's not just used by burrowing owls. We actually discovered not only 2 years ago that we found a healthy adult regal horned lizard in a burrow, showing more sensitive species can utilize them. It was overwintering as a choice in an artificial burrow entrance. We've also documented bull snakes, gopher tortoises, and a variety, about 6 species of rodents utilizing burrows that are artificial. So, the thing that's kind of sad today that I wanted to share, now that we're at the happy site, is the last site we just went to, which was called our Glendale Recharge Ponds, was a large artificial wetland system that surrounded about 3 farms and was an open area, and housed at that site about 5 to 7, have to check the document, about 5 to 7 burrows. And in our records, anywhere between about 3 to 5 male owls. Right now, like as I said, I'm surveying female and male owls. This time of year, we have historically only surveyed males in winter because it's comfortable. Right now it is only about 85 here in the morning at Arizona, but it will be 100 by the time we're running from the field. So, and even now it's pretty intense. Direct sun, no shade, as you can see behind me. It's, here are my trees, little teeny trees that don't offer really any shade. So it's intense field work, so we've always done it in the winter. So 3 to 5 owls that are just males is kind of a big deal. There's probably easily 8 to 10 or 12 that live there when they're families and they're raising their young with the females and the babies. So that site was completely plowed over this morning. We went to it and showed up, and it was a construction site. People putting in a brick wall, the area is completely paved, and I'll be sharing pictures in a post later. The really sad thing about the site that we just went to, so for those just joining, I am surveying an owl burrow site that we've done for 7 years. It is our most productive at around 50 plus 35, 50 or more burrows, with most of them being active. I think the most we've ever surveyed here is something like 30 owls. It's a very active site for burrowing owls. It's amazing. But the first site we went to this morning and trying to wrap up our study, we came to our site that had about 5 to 7 burrows, anywhere between maybe 3 to 5 winter, 8 to 12 summer owls numbers, and it was completely plowed over. It was just a dirt parking lot. It's really sad because it was a dirt parking lot, like this one. It was a dirt parking lot. The difference is that, unlike this ditch here, it was a ditch filled with grasses, and it had storm drain cement pipes, and they were living in the cement pipes, they were living in some outwash holes, and it was just grass and palm trees in a ditch. You can build around this. You can go around this and leave these animals. But instead, they chose to not only violate state, but federal laws and plow over our birds. Very high likelihood that some of those animals were trapped underground when this was plowed over and they were killed. It happens all the time, just even for people parking in areas where there's owls. And so it's really horrible. It was, I was in tears. It's pretty sad. I'm with my student Faith today. She's in the car getting data ready. We're about to go collect some more data. We have 5 more sites yet this morning. Just to give you an idea, out of 13 sites in the Phoenix area that we routinely surveyed for 7 years, this is the second one this has happened to. So I was on the phone with Fish and Wildlife, sitting in that parking lot, dirt parking lot, which was now just a beautifully carved, dirt ravine like this guy without outwash, just all removed. They removed the trees, removed the grass, and plowed it out, removed the storm drains, created new drainage. And then they had a fence, 15 feet away, and then all the construction was inside the fence. So arguably there's no reason to plow down the burrow's habitat. But instead they violated state and federal law and plowed this area of burrows. And so all of our owls on site are gone. Most of them probably were killed or 100% scared off. And so we call that extirpation. There's no more owls at that site. And so I was sitting there at the burrow site on the phone with Fish and Wildlife. We have an owl, and I'll share that in the post as well about this. There is a wildlife in danger hotline. You see someone harassing, poisoning, whatever. You cannot just go out and harm wildlife. Even raccoons, protected. You cannot just go and harm wildlife and do what you want. There are regulations. So, when humans need to get that mindset to begin with. But they don't care. All they have to do, to be fair, is call this number. They get free signs from the state, nice big metal signs. Actually, let's walk over here and I'll show you one, because there's one not too far from me right now here at Estrella. And so you have these nice metal signs. They deliver them for free. It says protected wildlife habitat. Call this number if the owls are being disturbed, and they give them advice. And by law, you're supposed to have an environmental assessor on site in order to assess the site and make sure there aren't protected species there. And if they find burrowing owls, they say, hey, here's how we're going to protect them. We're going to build around them. We're going to keep them here like this. And if they're not able to build around them, then they are, gathered up and transrelocated to a site like I'm at here at Estrella, where they are moved to a new permanent home. And so, you call, you either get a sign and an install, or your owls removed. But the illegal thing is just to plow them over, pretend like they weren't there. And then the construction people, it's not, it's their job to hire someone who knows what's on site and to do the assessment correctly. And so now it's up to us. So I took photo, I took video, called Fish and Wildlife, we pulled up our data file. Here's how many owls we saw on the last date. Here's the total, here's the location, here's the, latitude, longitude. I've got photos, I've got data, and if it goes to court, it'll be something that we have to provide evidence for. So let's turn it around. All right, guys, sorry. Apparently my video was always off. So, hey, I don't do live stuff often. Let me give it a little run back. Okay, so the first story I said is here I'm at Estrella Mountain Community College. Estrella Mountain Community College is an amazing place, science technical school, no sports, lots of science. And I love the professors, the programs here are great. And about close to 10, 12 years ago, they had artificial owl burrows installed here. So this morning, myself and my student Faith, who's in my car behind me, are surveying our owl burrows, preparing for publication in our paper, and we are going to all of our sites to do a final count on the owls, as well as to understand you know, what is happening to the sites as they change. In particular, we want to know how many artificial burrows have been installed, which we have a number of that. And these are where we actually install irrigation tubing and buckets, as I've been showing in a couple of these videos. So I'll take it back real quick and show you guys. So this is an artificial burrow. This one having 2 entrances, PVC, mesh, and plastic, 4-inch pipe tubing that connects in the bottom to one set of buckets. And so basically we install these. Wild at Heart Raptor Rescue, who are in Cape Creek, Arizona, installs these, and it's been really successful. We're talking 20,000 something burrows in, you know, the last 30,000 burrows, 5,000 owls, 6,000 close to that now, over the last 20 years. And so this is the most successful artificial burrow ecological restoration trans-relocation of a species. So the owls are actually captured from areas where they're being urbanized, and they are banded and documented and then kept in the rescue and fed. And then we, you know, the artificial burrows, which we've been a part of some installs, actually install them. You dig up the ground, install the buckets, the tubing and all that, and they have cement under them, as I showed in one of the earlier videos. Earlier in this video, there's a cement bottom. They put rebar in the sides and kind of strap it in with wire, and that secures it from predators being able to rip it up and get into it, and so that it also isn't damaged by flooding, seasonal changes, and all that. These are a very successful project. These birds are translocated. They're actually boxed in with a cage kind of at the entrance. And so they have to kind of stay in the burrow, and they're fed for a month, and then they unbox them and continue to feed them for a month or two. And the birds stay. In fact, about 90% of the birds we see don't have leg bands. They're wild birds who choose to use these artificial burrows. We've also documented gopher tortoises, about 6 species of rodent. And the big thing was 2 years ago, finding a regal, fat, healthy, regal horned lizard overwintering in the entrance of an artificial owl burrow we found just north of Tucson. And so these are really, really beneficial as a microhabitat, like burrows themselves. You know, these artificial burrows function as a microhabitat, providing species for, you know, space for hundreds of species. Everything from tarantulas to gopher tortoises to bull snakes, gopher snakes. A lot of these living communally, dung beetles, black-footed ferrets, prairie dogs would create most of these. But these little burrowing owls, as I'm showing here in the sign, do not create their burrows. They rely on other species. So this site is a really amazing success story. They have about 35 to 50 burrows here, with about more than half being active. We're doing a new count today, so that's why I say I don't know the number yet. They've installed some new ones. And we have, I'd say, anywhere between 30 to 60 owls. Now, these owls, western burrowing owls, which we've seen in some of the videos, I'm going to walk you back to see some more over here, because they've all flown away from my talking, which only I heard until later in the video. I apologize. So we're walking over here to these guys, and what we're going to see is that these burrowing owls are able to live in these artificial burrows because they provide what they need, which is protection from the extreme highs and lows that the desert offers, as well as droughts. Now, the flooding's dangerous, so these birds, even in the slightest touch of bad weather, flee these burrows very quickly, and they do not stay because of the risk of them flooding. So they're hilariously out in the worst haboobs of 70-mile-per-hour winds we've seen at this site and documented, as well as, you know, intense flooding, flash flooding conditions. They're really remarkable, but they use these trees for cover. They like having vegetation near them, and that's great. So unfortunately, there's some trash in the burrows and all that. I said we're going to pick that up, but this is what's called an outwash. You know, it's a small outwash, and these will also create burrows. And you can see under this outwash is really bad. It needs to be fixed. But you can see how bad it's created an outwash under there. And I guarantee those owls are probably utilizing that. So we'll do some trash cleanup today. You know, this is where it's outwash. So this is where the trash ends up in the parking lot. They do have a really good security system here. They also have, you know, with people monitoring it, which protect the owls and the campus. It's a pretty safe place. And as I was showing over here, that the owls right now, we have males and females. Western burrowing owls are migratory in all their groups except for Florida. They stay there. And migratory is only the females. The females will leave seasonally in order to, and let me walk back to the solar field here because the owls have all left me. But we were going to see the females leave to Mexico seasonally. And they will go to Mexico and get fat and then come back in the spring to breed. They raise their babies communally together as a family in the summer, and then the females depart to get fat again. So we're catching the females before they leave, and historically we've only surveyed males. All right, so the story that I was trying to tell back there that I was sad about was this is the second site we've surveyed today, and we're going to 7 today, myself and my research team lead, Faith Schenk. And what we're going to find out is how they're doing. And all these sites we've been to less than a year ago. We usually don't go more than 6 to 8 months without visiting all of our sites. And it's always very unfortunate to find out bad news. So this morning, the first site we went to is called the Glendale Recharge Ponds. That's what we call it. And it is a massive, probably 30 acre of artificial wetlands surrounding about maybe 10 acres of farms. And it was all natural. And we had between about 5 to 7 documented burrows and maybe about, I'd say, we documented three to 5 males consistently on site. We'd never documented during female season, but there could have been as much as 8, 10, or 12. We went there this morning and there was absolutely nothing there. They came in and bulldozed it. Absolutely bulldozed it. So imagine what I'm standing in right now, like an outwash of just dirt edge to edge. And that's what it looks like. But that's not what it looked like before. It used to have palm trees down the edge and big high grass. And that's it. And then 15 feet away is a fence. It's all dirt, 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 dirt. Even the cement storm drains the owls lived in were removed and collapsed. And they have nothing but dirt, and then 15 feet later is a fence, very similar to what I'm standing in. But again, this is Estrella. This is a good site with artificial burrows. But imagine outwash, and then 15 feet later a fence, and then all the construction is behind that fence. And I'm like, what? There's no need to even tear down the owl burrows. You can just build around it. And so as I was showing with that owl sign a second ago, that's a sign that we place. So if you're in Arizona or anywhere these owls are protected. All right, I'll walk to the owls because some people are saying they really want to see the owls. Let me go back to the camera. I got a lot of footage of them early on, and then they decided to scream at me and fly off. We'll go find them real quick. All right, it's pushing 100 now, you guys. I'm hiking for you, okay? All right, in the heat, back to the owls. Haven't gotten data on this site. This site will take us probably 2 hours after I jump off to actually survey. All right, let's go see some birds. So let's talk about what happened this morning. So arrived, everything was plowed over. They would only need to build around it. And as on the sign, as I showed, there's 2 things you do. If you're a construction company, these owls are protected federally. You have to, you have to hire an environmental assessor. You have to call and have them come out and make it a part of the construction project. And if they identify owls, as they should, because they were prolifically documented by us for 7 years, then you have to make sure, I'm gonna turn my camera, you're gonna see them on this, they're on top of the wooden post in the burrow right in front of me. All right, so I walk up. Oh, and if you can hear them, they're calling at me already. It's on the wooden post to the right of the tractor. All right, I'll walk up close and I'll stop. Oh, no, we flew off to the right. And right into the solar field, like I was saying earlier, how they use the solar field for shade. So I can walk up and see him through the fence. Him or her. They are not sexually dimorphic. Apparently there's a slight body weight difference, but the only way is DNA to tell these guys. So they plowed over this area. And so as a construction company, all you have to do is make a phone call. Oh, no, we're flying up again. Let's go this way so we can find more. So as a construction company, you make this phone call. And they see either A, you can build around it, which this site would have been easy to do, or B, you have Wild at Heart Raptor Rescue come out and capture the owls, ban them, keep them for the winter, install the burrows somewhere else, and relocate them. You don't just plow over them. Arguably, these owls were killed, definitely extirpated, pushed off permanently from the site, but potentially killed in the process. And that's very disheartening. All right, let's make our way. Now all the owls have run away because I've been in this video chat too long talking and they're annoyed. All right, I'll get some good owl footage for you guys on site today. I just have to make my way around. This is about 100 acres, maybe 150 acres, and there's more than 55 burrows on it. But if you go back to the beginning of this video when it posts, I got lots of good close-up footage